Pat O'Day has been our historian here for the many years he's been with us on these broadcasts. He has seen more and forgotten more than most of us have ever learned about hydroplane racing. But even Pat learns something, and every so often he likes to show people the history of hydroplane racing. Like the time he went down to the Hydro Museum in Kent. Pat takes us on a little tour now.
The slow motions, the boats that started it all. This one restored right down to the very last bolt by Seattle benefactor Bruce McCaw. The slow-mo, the boat that did a complete 360 while approaching the floating bridge in 1955. And here it is, the boat that won race after race, nearly every race it entered, here at the Hydroplane Race Boat Museum. And we'd like to introduce the man who, with a labor of love, has with his volunteers created this great, great restorative place for rooster tail reflections, Mr. David Williams. David, wonderful to be here.
Thank you, Pat. I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, we're delighted. We're looking at the slow-mo now. There was a grandfather or a child before this particular boat, sort of the experimental hydroplane.
Absolutely. We've got the Slow-Mo 3, which was sort of the test bed of the concept. It's a 225, which is a limited hydroplane. It was built in 1948, and believe it or not, it never ever raced. When Ted Jones met Stan Sayers and they talked about the concept of a prop riding unlimited, Sayers was sort of a smart guy, and he said, well, before you go with a full-scale boat, let's see a proof of concept. So Ted designed and started to build this boat, the Slow-Mo 3. When they launched it, it was so much faster than anything else. They didn't need to race it. They went right to the full-size boat.
And here we are in a 1968 model unlimited hydroplane. As recently as 68, this is how they were built. This is how they looked. This is a boat, by the way, that if you bring your family out here to the Hydroplane Race Boat Museum, you can actually climb on this boat, sit down and feel the steering wheel. But you'll also notice there's no safety belt for the driver, no canopy to cover the driver's head in the event of an accident. But even more important, the bow of this boat is rounded. Now, the problem with that was that if the boat got in rough water or pitched into the water, then it would tend to submarine and the boat would disintegrate in milliseconds, doing great harm to the driver and destroying the boat. Thus, a great innovation was the pickle fork bow, thus eliminating that inclination to, again, dive for the deep on the part of these unlimited racing hydroplanes.
Pat, you talked about pickle fork hydroplanes, and we are so grateful to have famous boats like this 1982 Atlas Van Lines here. This is the first boat that Chip Hanauer won a Gold Cup in.
And the innovation of the pickle fork, coupled with honeycombed aluminum construction, allowed the boats to ride lighter, it seems. So you had big open areas here that they didn't need for airlift.
That's right.
You have a lot of hydroplanes here. How many do you have?
Well, we have 17 in the collection altogether, but we can't display them at the same time. And any given day, you're going to see 9 or 10 boats down here, but it's never going to be the same 9 or 10. We try and change them out frequently.
It isn't just hydroplanes, is it?
Oh, absolutely. We've got motors, we have uniforms, we have trophies, we have buttons, we have models, we have toys, we have films, we have books. You name it, we've got it.
What do you want people to take away when they bring their family and come and visit your museum?
I want people to realize that this sport had a huge impact on this region. It was more than just one weekend every year. It's something that really shaped the childhood of thousands and thousands of kids growing up in this state.
And what a wonderful year to come and visit and find out how these elements in this magnificent museum are in fact the foundation of Seafair, now in its 60th year. Well, now I want to tell you how to go get to that museum. There's an exit right after South Center. You take it and you take a left if you're coming from Seattle. Look for Orwilla Drive and then take that left turn and go down through Kent. You can't miss it. The highway goes right past. You'll see the boats outside the museum. And do take your family and do see it. They need you to come and support them, and your family will love the experience. Thank you.
Now, Pat, you know I don't know a pickle fork from a salad fork, but one thing I do know, and I have been to that museum, I know that you and one Mr. Chip Hanauer were honored in the Hall of Champions, the first 2 inductees into the Hall of Champions at the Raceboat Museum. That's quite something. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Steve.
thought you might like to say something about it. We actually have pictures. There's Chip's picture. There's a part of the evening, and there's Chip as a 12-year-old.
This is a 75-year-old guy. You can see what boat racing does to you.
Yes,
it just destroys you. That was a wonderful honor for me. Bill Muncie was inducted along with myself, and it was just a wonderful night. My family was there, and I'm so glad that my father was there to see it. And there you see Bill Muncie and myself, and it's just one of the greatest honors I've ever had.
And then our great Pat O'Day, also there, and everybody gets a standing ovation, and it was a lovely evening had by all. Congratulations, you two. We very much appreciate you being a part of our program here, just as we're glad to see all these folks who are standing by waiting for the next race.